Alright, what's going on, world? What's going on, people? This video right here, I am getting together so I can discuss about my programming journey in space engineers. I've recorded a couple other videos. I didn't like them. I'm going to be honest with you, I messed up and didn't have my mic on because I'm streaming and I use OBS streams and all that to record and stream at the same time. But today we're going to go over this real quick. And this is some of the coolest stuff I've done in Space Engineers. I have a script that's real simple that breaks down all the different components in a cargo container. Now, it's nothing but a loop, and it's running through the loop. I had some help by Malware out of, well, on Discord through the King software um, Discord and the programming section in there. So I had somebody to help me and like guide me along the way. I still had to figure out how everything worked, but I would like to give him a big shout out. So let me go ahead into this code and what I figured out and how I got to work. So I'm using Visual Studios off tops. And in Visual Studios, let me switch over to that real quick. In Visual Studios, this is what I have going. I have pretty much all my code in here, and I just copy it over, and it automatically lines it up and helps me with the formatting and all that. So I'm going to go line by line and break down how this code works and then show you the pieces as they work, because this is one of those things that nobody really on my feeling on YouTube really goes through this and really shows how these pieces work. So here we go. So the string builder command is just like, if you're familiar with programming, it's just like adding or concatenating a string. It supposedly saves resources and also doesn't create memory leaks, because when you do a two-string command or anything, converting a string, it takes up memory, from what I'm like learning from malware and other people and what I'm reading online. So what I'm doing right here is just building something for I can display all my information to my LCD, my cargo LCD. Right here, this is my debug LCD. So I can export the information or print it out to two different locations. So that's what I'm using the string builder command for. And then it goes into this command right here. Now this command right here is your bread and butter when it comes to getting into a cargo container. What I'm doing right now is I'm creating a variable, so it's my terminal block, and all the parameters are going into this list. So it's creating this list with fields and it's setting it up, and that's what this command does. It's outside of the function, this main function. This main function is totally separate than this outside function, if you know anything about C. So then you go into program. Program, this is what has the screen. Let me show you. This is what has the screen automatically refresh, the LCD, or really the programming block, and it automatically refreshes. So you can see it's processing, it's getting more nickel. I've had it processing a lot of stuff, but once you let it run for so long, after a while it finishes everything. So both of these are pretty much automatically running off of this one programmer block, no timer block. So that's what that pretty much does. So that's what this command there does. So let's switch back over to Visual Studios. Much cleaner look. So this right here automatically refreshes it. You don't want to put it in your main void, public void, your main one, because this automatically refreshes every time you put this update command in here. So since this is constantly running, it goes through this update frequency in order to make this constantly run. That's what I found out. You don't want to put that command in here because every time it's going to run it. So that right there slows down your script. So you get kind of getting a division. If you don't, leave a comment and I'll break it down even more. Right here, this is my line count. So this is how many pieces of information I could put on a line. So right now it's resetting it at 0. So every time that it runs this, it resets the whole display, or let me say string builder function. It resets it every time here. So it resets the debug, it resets the cargo, and if it doesn't, it'll constantly add to the screen. So then you'll end up with a really, really long text. There should be a lot of text, and that's not really good in this scenario because now you're adding the memory because you're doing characters and you know. So this clears out and starts over the whole program. Then I go into this and the list cargo containers, the part that I have up here, this is it's like building the information here. Now I cannot get this command to run on the outside, so I guess every time it has to run this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to move this maybe to this right here so it can run it once. But that's stuff that I have to play with in the long run and figure out. But right now this is a working script, so I'm not going to change too much. I'm probably going to move on to my next one. So now I'm going to go ahead and start appending stuff to the string builder. So that's what these do. These add to the string that's up here. So I'm adding the total, and this right here is the whole header that's on top of the LCD. So let me show you that. Do you want to? Yes. Run. Okay. So I didn't mess anything up. So that right there says total of 4 cargo containers with the stars. That right there is this command here. So that's how it translates over. Now I could put my append commands on the back of this, like right there. I have to delete this, but you know, it's just been simpler to break it line by line so I can see each line. If I have an error, I know where line to go to. So it doesn't affect it speed wise. And then I go into my for loops. My for loops go off of the count, and this is a made up count. Pretty much it goes off of the containers and how many are listed in the containers. So this constantly gets all the information, puts it in there, loads it up, and constantly sift through the information. So once it hits this, it runs this loop, gets a count, counts up, goes through each cargo container, you know, puts it into this object, and then if the object is null, it doesn't do anything. If the object isn't null, well then it starts processing. So null is a command saying if the object wasn't found or wasn't anything in it, what it does. So the null command pretty much, well, it's more of a result because in different parts you got to use different results or different, because this right here is a specific type of object and you have to know the results because all the time you can't use null on all objects you create, or if you're using this format. I've learned that it's just weird. See, you have to be very specific and know. So null is one of those things saying that it didn't create anything. C knows that it's an empty object, so that's what null kind of in some terms, in some cases, I can't say some terms. It just depends on what object you're using. It's null. All right, so let's go down into here. So this right here gives me a count of each object in the container, right? And this is how I get my items. So on here, it shows how many items are in a cargo container. The second star or 1-star level, it's a 2-star for the name of the cargo container, 1-star for the item, like the information, and then after that it's indented over and it gives you what's in the cargo container. So that's what this part right here does. This breaks down this into different pieces as far as, you know, the mass, the amount, the volume, all that. So you kind of see a visual of how it links up. So then it sets the line count equal to 3, right? And if the line count is equal to 3, then it automatically indents it over. So this is like starting a brand new line, and then it goes through, and anything greater than 1, it just adds a line, and it resets it. So it's like a reset command in there that pretty much moves resets the typewriter to a point, or begins at the beginning of the line at the home, and then it's another command in here that adds it up at the bottom, so it just adds on, right? And then you have your command to reset it, your command to reset it there. So I have a couple of resets, you know, and pretty much it's just wrapped around this append code, adding more to that cargo LCD string building um, function. So as you can see, I'm using object container that I checked to see if it was null, because this command won't run without that. And it goes through, gets the items, gets I out of the items, which I right now is here. I might rename that variable, you know, but I is there, and it goes through and pulls I, you know, because this one up here has a different, this was called int counter, int count. So that'll be like the container count, and this right here would be the item count. So that's something that I like to go through and rename my variables to get them more. I can see what it does off of what the variable's name. So then I don't have to go in and add a lot of, I guess, instructions saying what command does what, because I know what this does. It's a string builder, LCD for the cargo. Like, it's real simple. I know what that is. That's my line count, you know. So it's just different stuff, playing with those different variables so you can see them. But in this, you can see it by clicking on it, because this is Visual Studios. It just makes it easy for you to find the pieces, you know. But naming variables is very important. So as you can see, that's the end of that. And it's just 2 loops, a for loop here, for loop here, and they're inside, one's inside of each other. So it's 3 loops. This main loop, this loop, that smaller loop, it comes out of all the loops down here. That's where 1 loop, 2, and then it runs this PV, which is public void text panel right. So I put the string builder in there, sent it in. So I had to put the string builder variable, what this data is here, so to know string builder. Then I have string here, so you can put the LCD panel name in. Then I have a bool in here for append, if I want to make this append to the text panel or just overwrite it all together. So in these cases, I have it overwrite every time. So yeah, string builder goes in, checks the length. This right here gets the object. You see if it's null, it doesn't run it. So it gets this name of this object, checks it, checks it, checks the string data, and then puts it out, the string data, into the panel. And I found out that I didn't have to put 2 string conversions on here when I'm using string builder, so it's pretty good. And then down here I have code cut off just for my debug, so I can put code into my other monitor just for testing in between variables. Like, I want to see what this is without putting it in the middle of my cargo, what the cargo is going to output. So this is a debug mechanism. So yes, this is my first for real script. I still got some variables I want to move around and play with and test. And then after this, I'm going to go on to dealing with, I'm going to make my own little interface where pretty much I can have this on a button I can hit, and then I hit another button, and then it will show me a different type of screen. Or maybe I can make a menu system where it'll make it look like you're going through a menu, perhaps. Stuff like that. So, hope you guys enjoyed my script, my breakdown of my script. In the future, I plan on, like I said, doing more and more and more. So if you can, go ahead and subscribe, comment, um, check me out on my Twitch, and also, if you can, follow my Discord. I'm going to be building up a circle of people that can help me develop code or use these codes, or, you know, really get into space engineers and developing these systems, because I would love to have a ship with my own little interface I put in there, and it's a simple script that I can just throw in any ship and control it without a lot of, I guess, finagling. I don't want to, I don't want to fuss around with it. But like I'm making this core here, and pretty much I just plan on projecting it into other people's worlds. And the whole point of this core is this module, and I'll be able to project in another piece, like a whole nother system. So that means that this system here will have to be able to accommodate the added on systems, and maybe having to scroll the information when it gets over so many lines, or maybe able to have a button where you can go to page 1, page 2, and actually go through the different pages of information. Um, that's some higher level coding and stuff like that, but that's kind of probably where I'm going. Um, you know, just my idea. So this is what I'm working on, just a system that can show me what's in my cargo containers. And, I have everything wired up and set up through sorting systems. So I'm going to just pretty much play with it and get it a little bit further along. Right now, this is just a simple script that shows me everything in my cargo containers from like a little command center. So right now, that's what I'm using this script for. Maybe you can use it for a little bit more. It's very basic, it's very small, it's very lightweight, and is moddable. You can modify it. So enjoy. I hope you, I guess, I hope you can like dissect and use this code in your builds. And like I said, follow, subscribe, keep up with your boy, and keep space engineering, people. Get with you later. GrYnD out.